everyone, so this is another look in my FX series where I do FX type of looks without using makeup that is typically found when you're doing FX makeup. My main reason behind doing this series is my skin cannot handle those products anymore. Like when I do it, I have such a bad reaction to it, so I do it in like once in a very, very long blue moon. I love to create FX looks, but I don't like to burn my face doing it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and then check out my other looks in this FX series. I will have them linked. No, I won't, because we all know I suck at doing it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Now let's begin.
First off, use a nude eyeliner pencil to draw on the main features of this look, so the ripped skin around the eyes and head. To get a more accurate stretched skin look near your eyes and mouth, stretch your skin a bit, then draw a point at the tip of where you want the skin rip or mouth to stop, and then draw your lines connecting to that point. Now use a skin-toned face paint to paint your skin. You don't want to use a foundation because it will dilute the colors of the body paint you apply on top of it. I used Ivory by Wolfe. It's lighter than my natural skin tone, but it works. Moving on to the muscle. You're going to start out with a dark pink paint. You'll be using this color to outline the muscle so it creates depth and definition so you can clearly see where the rips in the skin are supposed to be. Then use a light pink paint as the base color for the muscle. I mixed a red and ivory body paint together to create this color. I'm using 3 different brands of makeup brushes to create this look. The one you see me using now is by Wolfe, and it comes with their Hydro Color palette. And then I'm using Made You Look by Lex, which are the teal color brushes, and then the darker blue colored brushes are from Royal Lang & Nickel. Now take a red paint and use it to add some more outlining around the muscles to give even more depth. Now you don't outline every rip entirely with the red paint, just here and there. After that, I used the red to create lines going through the muscles, so these are the fibers that you see. Make sure the lines aren't perfectly straight. You don't want them to be perfectly straight. After I've done that, I use that color to paint on my stretching mouth. I cover my real lips with that paint because chances of you mixing together a color to match your natural lip color are pretty low. It's hard to do with body paint alone, so you want to make sure you hide your natural lip color with a paint. Doesn't matter what paint you use, but like a pink or a red looks more realistic than you using like a black or a green. Use a blood red colored body paint to add even more depth to the look by, again, just like before, outlining the muscle areas and then creating lines. You want to use different tones of red and pink to make the muscle fibers look a little more realistic. You don't need a bunch of red and pink paints to do this. If you have a red paint and a black and a white, you will be able to create pink because pink is a tint of red, so you can mix the red with white and you can create a light pink, and you can mix the red with black to create a darker blood red color. So you don't need a bunch of paints. You can mix paints together to create different colors, obviously. They're not just a solid red or pink color. There's different tones of red, there's different tones of pink, so that's why you want to use different tones of red and different tones of pink, not just a red and a pink. I know you guys know that, I just said that. You know, maybe because you forget. Honestly, you forget. And sometimes you're like, oh, I need this face paint. I really need it. And then take a step back and then decide, hey, I don't need it because I can make it. Now use a paint that's darker than your skin tone to paint on the stretch marks and wrinkles. Create these marks near your mouth, nose, and near each part where there is exposed muscle. So you're also going to outline all the muscle areas with this paint. So the edge of all the skin. To make the nose look like it's being stretched, you want to paint nostrils on as well, and you want to paint them in the direction of where everything's kind of being pulled out. You also want to make sure you paint stretch marks near where the skin is being pulled around your face. So at the tip of every area where the skin is being pulled, you want to create lines that are coming down so it looks like, you know, it's being pulled, but there's those wrinkles that would be created if you're stretching something out, like latex. Like when you stretch out a balloon, the like creases that happen near your fingernails. Think of that. I am the worst at explaining things, but hopefully you can see by watching me what you're supposed to do. Can we make that a #1 hit? It's just going to be called I Suck at Explaining Things now. I suck at explaining things. Woo! I'm a modern day Mariah Carey. You hear those high notes? Bethany can sing. I'm joking. Somebody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, this girl thinks she can sing. I'm joking. Now you want to use another skin tone face paint, one that's similar to the one you used to paint on the stretch marks, just a little bit lighter, and then you're going to use that to create more wrinkles and stretch marks. It's just like the muscle fibers, there's different tones to your wrinkles. Some wrinkles are deeper than other wrinkles, so it has more of a shadow, so you want these different tones to make the look more realistic, and you layer these paints, if that makes sense. So you want to put these paints right near each other to create that depth. Now use a face paint that's at least a few shades lighter than your natural skin tone. If you don't have one on hand, you can use a white face paint, or you can mix white with brown to create a shade that's right for you, and you're going to use that as the highlight color. Remember, highlighting is going to draw attention to an area, and shading is going to recede an area. So when you highlight, it's going to make some areas look a little bit more lifted, and then when you shade, it's going to make some areas look a little bit more pushed back. Highlighting near the wrinkles is going to help the wrinkles stand out a little bit more, and then highlighting around the edges of the skin is going to make the skin in that area look a little bit more raised, so you can kind of define the muscle fiber and the skin in that area and make the skin actually look like it's overlapping the muscle. Then use that color to create more muscle fibers and define the fibers. Muscle fibers aren't just the red and the pink color. There's some hint of like ivory and tan in there, so that's why you want to use a color similar to this to add to the fibers. Now I'm taking a black face paint and using that to paint on my brows so they look a bit stretched. It'd be better if I probably covered my brows to do this, but I didn't. So if you want to make it look even cooler, just go ahead and cover your brows and then paint the brows on, just making them look stretched and pull. Then use that paint to paint on some nostrils, and you again want to make them look like they're being stretched. Now you want to use a black eyeshadow to shade around the skin near the muscle fibers. You don't shade the entire area, you just start at the edge of some of the skin, and then you blend the eyeshadow out so it fades the closer it gets toward the center of the muscle fiber. You want to use eyeshadow. It's really hard to do something like this with black face paint. It is very hard to not make the colors too black, and then if you add too much water to your paintbrush so that it isn't too black, you end up taking face paint off of your face. So it's easier to use an eyeshadow brush to do this with some black eyeshadow. Like I said before, shading makes an area look pushed back. So what it's doing here is it's making the lighter area, the skin, look more raised, and then it's making the muscle fiber look more pushed back. So there's that 3D element. Said it so many times before, so many tutorials. Shading is my favorite thing to do. Shading, in my opinion, is what makes a look. Like what makes somebody look at something you've done and be like, whoa, that looks really cool. You can use that black eyeshadow to shade on top of the skin as well, and like I said, shading is going to make something look a little bit more raised. The areas that are lighter look more raised. So if you put that eyeshadow around the bottom part of the eye, the part where it's looking stretched down there, this is going to help that area look a little bit more raised, and it looks really cool. I then brought the paint down onto my neck. You don't have to do this, but if you do this, it's going to be the exact same thing you did to the face. You use different tones of pink and red to create the muscles, and then you use the brown shadows, the brown face paint to create the wrinkles, and then use black eyeshadow to shade the look. It's really simple to do once you've like got it down on your face. Like the body is nothing. So that's it for the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what are some FX looks you'd like to see recreated using face paint. Remember, I'm using face paint, so some looks it'll be really difficult for me to try to recreate especially if it involves prosthetics. That would be really hard to do just using face paint. So think about it and let me know in the comments below. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.